Okay, welcome to Joy in the Journey. Today I have Godfrey on the call just to give you all an insight of what life is like for him or what life has been for him in these past 45 days that he has been detained here in Georgia. Just remember that Godfrey has served this country. He has yet to see a judge to plead his case to get him home. And I just want to have him share some of his experiences with you all. And we're just going to have a quick conversation about it. So, all right, Godfrey, what is it that you would like to share? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He's on the phone. So that is obviously why you do not see him. So, Godfrey, what is it that you would like to share?
I just want to say good evening to your audience and thank you, April, for having me on. Uh, just a little background story of myself. Came here in the 70s, age 14, 15, as a young man from Jamaica, and was sponsored by my mother on a green card. Um, through a year in middle school and my entire high school tenureship. Graduated high school in Brooklyn, Boys and Girls High School, and enrolled in college. I found college to be a little tedious, a little arduous, so I sat out a semester, enrolled in Queensborough Community College, where my discipline, my major is accounting, played tennis on a partial scholarship for Queensborough Community College tennis team, men's tennis team. Was floundering in my academics. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Matriculated to another community college, upstate New York, Sullivan County, on a soccer scholarship, and that's when I decided, the stuttering of the economy, I would just sit out an enlistment in the military, the United States Army, so, so as to give myself time to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. Uh, well, so said, so done. Enlisted in the Army, 1983. Uh, did well enough, excellent on the ABSAB, which is the military entrance exam for academics and your job skill. So I had options to go or or pick up whatever career I wanted. So I choose pharmacy technician, which is a year long school, and I was definitely being premeditated. I figured for a year long school, I'd be in school for a year. My basic training would be about 3, 4 months, and the prelim to pharmaceutical medicine was the 91 Bravo nursing course. So a total of about 3 years, and I figured just on that strength, I would be I would be okay on a 6 year enlistment. Just a back note, I've always played sports, high school tennis player, soccer player, and also played international table tennis. So I figured, all that accumulation of all of that, I could really maximize my ability and be a super soldier. My basic training was done in Fort Dix. I went from Fort Dix to the military academics of health and science, which is at Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas. Excelled in the nursing program and graduated into the pharmaceutical medicine program that was offered by the University of Maryland.
So, Godfrey, let me ask you
And
this
so,
question. How old were you when you went into the military?
at 23, I had stated that in my bio, 23 years young.
Okay. And so you have now been detained for 45 days. What are some of the things that you have witnessed or at least felt as you have been there in Fort Stewart? Excuse me, in Stewart Detention Center.
Well, just to give a background on myself, a small little resume. After finishing up 8 years in the military, I earned a U.S. Army Accommodation Medal, also a U.S. Army Good Conduct Medal. I'm also a excuse me. I'm also a wartime veteran, Operation Fury in Grenada. I'm a sharpshooter, shooter, sniper. I also earned primary leadership development program graduate. Also, um, all-time all-army soccer, all-army tennis, all-army table tennis user, and that's just a short resume on myself. Well, I was detained by ICE from the 13th of September 2025, and after spending a few days in Atlanta at the ICE facility, we were transferred by bus to Lumpkin, Georgia, a facility called um, uh, Stewart Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia. About approximately 2 hours, 2.5 hours, the most 3 hours from Atlanta. At first, my initial orientation, I was green. I didn't know what to expect. It's my first time in a situation such as this. And as you can imagine, as your audience can imagine, it was a total shocker. I didn't know that prior wartime veteran of the United States Army could be detained for an immigration flag, which is a misdemeanor, and that happened in 2006, August 15th. So just being in this facility, I've endured a lot of hardship. The conditions are deplorable at best. The diet is atrocious, and as far as the English speaking population, our community is 15% of the total 2,500 detainees in this facility. Currently, I'm in A3, which houses 76 bodies in an open pod. 16 of us are non-Spanish speaking immigrants, and the other 60 are Spanish speaking detainees immigrants. The, 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 the diet consists primarily of Latin food. The commissary, 70% of the items on that list is oriented towards the Latin community. Also, in type of amenities like the television, we have 4 televisions. 3 of them is constantly on Latin media. One stays on English. Another thing I'd like to highlight is my first 12 days here in Lumpkin, Georgia, Stewart Detention Center. I spent on the ground. My first 12 nights, they didn't have a bed. And that tells your audience that this place is overpopulated. The capacity is 2,500 detainees. However, here in my pod, there's an excess of about 15 people on the ground. Now, I know a lot of your audience are asking, how is that possible? Why don't they have adequate beds? Well, for Civic, which is the subcontract of ICE to detain, house, detain, feed, and corroborate with the detainees, um, is running the show here. Now, their shortage of bed is totally on that subcontract. They supplement not having metal bolts, which is just about 28 inches wide. It's very narrow, and it's a double layered bunk. They substitute those beds with bolts on the floor. To describe that in detail, it's going to be pretty hard. You've got to really visualize a boat with a 2-inch mat, and you're sleeping on the floor. Not directly, because they do give you a mat and they do give you linen. However, uh, you're susceptible to the drafts and the wind and the air conditioning and the fluctuation of temperature, and you're constantly battling the symptoms of flu, cold, and bronchitis, as well as um, one of my tribe, he caught pneumonia here, so he had to be outsourced to Columbus, Georgia, Piedmont Hospital.
Wow. You said one of your people caught pneumonia. I
Yes,
also know that you stated just how cold it is in that place before you were detained. You were not sniffling and coughing. Now you are definitely maintaining a sniffle and some congestion just on a regular basis because it's so cold, right?
yes. The premise is that at that temperature, 56 degrees, they can contain any type of germs and bacteria. Unfortunately, for the detainees, we are given a light jacket, and inevitably, a majority of the detainees have to sleep in this jacket. So your sleep is inherent. It's not static. It's not true and true. You're constantly battling your body's change of temperature, and also um, because of the lack of dietary and proper nutrition, your immune system is susceptible to breaking down.
Hmm.
Now, now, as we're living in these conditions, we're a day behind. For every service that's requested, you must submit paperwork, and it takes a day to be reviewed. Everything is being reviewed. Even the phone call is being reviewed. And
Right.
I don't know how much of it you get. I'm trying my best to make it very short, very fluid, so we can get the most of it for this podcast. Um, you have people being uprooted and shipped out in a haste. they're coerced to find themselves out of the country. They're getting deported by the thousands, and many of these young men who are just workers, they're not criminal elements,
Mhm.
they're leaving their family, and now the public's tax dollars will have to take care of these families. So I don't know if that's a win-win situation as far as deporting all of these young men and women. However, there should be some consideration. There should be some question asked. There should be some inquiry. Uh, a majority of these offenses, criminal offenses, are misdemeanors. Let me repeat that. A majority of the offenses committed against society, they are misdemeanors, like, for instance, writing a bad check, um,
You said writing a
uh,
bad check.
writing a bad check, a
Okay.
traffic ticket. A simple traffic ticket can flag their immigration status. A simple traffic ticket. Just imagine. Um, I feel like I've been sent all over the world to do, my pledge, the pledge of allegiance to the United States and the flag to serve and protect foreign and domestic enemies, local and abroad, having carried a secret and a top secret clearance that only citizens can carry, should give me some type of preferential treatment here
Mhm.
as an armed service veteran in the United States Army that I was told is the superior fighting man, and I believed it. I have a stellar military career.
Right. You are right. I know that, for your family out here, myself included, it has definitely been a challenge for you not being here for 45 days. We have come to visit you. You've at least seen us. I believe it's 3 times you've seen us.
Yes, yes.
How did you feel about those visits? Because to me, they're very cold. We can't touch you. We can only talk to you through glass with a phone. What are those visits, or what do those visits mean to you?
Okay, on the topical, just the topical response, I'll say they're very antisocial.
Hmm.
Um, while the visits, while the visits are recommended and well needed for detainees who will matriculate back into society here in the United States, it gives us hope. However, the way you're carted in and out of those situations, let you quickly realize that for 1 hour, they're only seeing 30 people a day
Hmm.
for almost 3,000 people. Another thing is the impersonal aspect of it is you're talking behind plexiglass through a telephone that goes in and out. The
Right.
equipment fixture is antiquated, to say the least. This facility was built in 2004, and what you will find is there's no current update of the equipment in place. So the detainees have to endure uh, it's just an inherent constant change. There's no consistency on any given day on what you might come across or what you're going to expect. The officers are not well trained. I'll just give you a case by case scenario. Saturday, we were told you're not going out to exercise for that hour, which is normally the practice and part of their SOP in any given day. 7 days a week, we go out for 1 hour, play soccer, work out in the yard, go to the library, and run around the track. And the reason we were given was they had 15 call outs of their staff could not be properly manned, so they canceled the yard. We were not able to go on Saturday. Now the face of that is just one aspect of the many things that happen. Um, there are times on our scheduled dinner, lunch, breakfast, we're over 2 hours delayed. 2 hours delayed. For their standard operational procedure, there's a count that takes place on the hour where they count the detainees to make sure that they're all in place, even though we're behind 4 to 5 different metal doors.
Right.
They have to make a count, and the charge of quarters, the core civic security does a logbook to make sure everybody is in place. Well, if you're missing a person, which has happened, we get locked down. And that compromises the services that's afforded to us that day. For instance, 2 weeks ago, we had a lockdown, and that happened on a day where we should be getting commissary food. So we didn't get food on a Thursday. It happened the next day. Why am I making a note of this? There are people here who are diabetic. They have medical circumstances that has to be attended to. And when you have a lockdown, it compromises the regular routine of what we should be expecting. So on that particular, we were locked down. We were locked down. I was not able to make phone calls. They shut the phones down. And our child, our food was late. Um, commissary was late. You have people with severe diabetes, they're diabetics, and they take insulin. So when your expected meal is 2 hours late, it does something to the human individual. So in that aspect, it's a very subhuman services. Very much so.
Absolutely. 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 Yeah, you didn't tell me that story, but I do know that it's definitely challenging. The goal is for us to have more of these conversations with you, just for you
Okay.
to share, share anything that you would like to. I know that it's not always easy for you to get to the phone. We are blessed that we are able to speak to each other daily, but that also comes with a cost because it's not inexpensive to make the phone calls. You can tell us a little bit more just about maybe your first couple of nights there. I know that you stated you were on the floor for 12 nights, but when a person first comes into the Stewart Detention Center, what just briefly, what was that like? I know you told me that they give you some things, they only give you some things for a short period of time before you then have to purchase.
So upon the arrival, they have an intake system where you get processed into their system, and that allows for the individual to get a plethora of different things. Before you can get any service, before you can use the phone, before you could buy any commissary, before you can buy a piece of clothing garment, especially if you're cold and you need a t-shirt or a sock, you gotta process in, and oftentimes the process is not 100%. Nothing is 100%. However, it is so lackadaisical, it's so lax that you get three different coded numbers. Actually, four. You get an A number, which is your alien registration number. You get a PIN number for the phone, and you also get a password, four-digit number. On your first arrival, if any of those things are out of kilk, your money can go on the wrong in the wrong department, which is what happened to me because your anticipation of putting money on the commissary tripped up the first deposit. That first set of monies went to my phone, and I wasn't able to use it for food. So what that did, that delayed the process of having access to those funds to purchase food. And now you're given a Quasar complimentary bag, three uniforms, three jumpsuits, a pants and a shirt, four underwear to their credit, they're all new. You get three pairs of socks, you get a shower slipper and a deck shoes, and you also get a warm jacket. Also in that bag is two bed sheets for your linen, a pillowcase, uh, toothbrush, complimentary toothpaste. Because outside of those complimentary items, you will have to purchase commercial items that you have for the duration of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Complimentary that will last you for a week proper. Over that stretch, you have to purchase your own. Let me repeat that. You're given these complimentary items, a toothbrush, complimentary toothpaste, and you have complimentary deodorant and a complimentary um, four 4 ounces of shampoo that gathers as shampoo and body soap. Now you pray that all those logistical things are in order. So when you do get shipped out from intake, okay, one more note. They do a quick triage medically on you. So we don't have enough time to go into detail, but I just also want to make note that the allocation of where you're placed in the building is so inherent that you get into the wrong pod, it could be really life changing.
Mm.
It could be very crucial as far as the population that they insert you in. If you're not a match, you could have a very hard time just surviving in a day-to-day situation. So that's what my early days look like. My first 1, 2, 3, 4 days look like. My triage was not the best. They collected my lab samples incorrectly, and up to this day, my doctor is unable to answer why did my nurse take 4 vials of blood from me when she only needed 1 vial of blood to do labs. The answer was so riff-raff, and I was carted off to just that's none of your business. But here it is. I'm being stabbed to give blood, which there was no explanation to the detainee why it was necessary to take 4 vials of blood from me. Like, who's selling my blood? Honestly, who's selling my blood? Is it the facility or the nurse just made a boo boo and took too much blood from me for a simple lab test? I've never given 4 vials of blood for lab.
Wow. Well, yeah, we're going to continue this conversation at another time. I just wanted to make
Okay,
sure that you had an opportunity to, discuss how you're doing. Next time we will have, I guess, something more specific, just in terms of, what do you guys do there to occupy your time, how people are coming in and leaving. But I do want to make sure that I thank you for this opportunity, let you know that everyone out here is thinking of you, praying for you, your family, and we all love you. And we just cannot wait for you to come home. We know that how prayerful you are, and that the prayer that you and I are using is Ephesians 6:10, putting on the armor of
yeah.
God. And that's just how fast the call ended, because it just disconnected. So yeah, I just want to say thank you all for taking that opportunity to listen, to just what some of his experiences are like at the detention center.